What's up, guys? This is Daniel back from Bar Shield with episode 83 of Bar Tip Tuesday. This week we're going to talk about different types of storage options for your bar. So if you're familiar with the industry, there's quite a few out there. Probably the most common you'll see in a box or a CrossFit gym is going to be the 9-bar holder. So you get 9 slots to vertically store a bar. Only drawback with most of the designs out there is that there's no protective coating in here. So meaning you could strip or scratch up your bar's sleeve if you're not careful, or if you just let it kind of drop into the slot itself, it can hit the bottom pretty hard, which could cause some internal issues eventually. Probably not at the beginning, but I've seen people just kind of just line it up and just drop it in there, and it makes a big crash on the sleeve. So a 9-bar holder is an option. Just be careful when you're putting it down to the sleeve. I know Eleiko actually makes one that actually is lined, so the slot is actually, there's a rubber lined slot, so it prevents the friction from occurring to help with the scratches and to help minimize some of the crashing that's occurring. So 9-bar holder is one option. Another option would be, most manufacturers are going to make it. So whether it's Rogue, whether it's Elite FTS, Fringe, American Barbell, all of them are going to have some variation. Just the 9-bar holder is the most common. So now we've seen some. The other pretty common one is going to be a gun rack. So that's going to be a horizontal storage. So whether it's a 3-bar gun rack or 6. We've seen multiple different types, and some come with, if you're familiar with a gun rack, some of them come with a plastic insert or a plastic kit to help with the problem of messing up your knurling, so preventing it from scratching. So if you're going to have a gun rack, you definitely want to have at least the plastic kit or plastic insert, or something that's going to prevent the bar's knurling. If the bar's knurling is sitting on the gun rack, you want to prevent that from rubbing around and rolling around. If it's on the sleeve, it's a little bit different. It's not as big of a deal. So that's the gun rack. Just make sure you have something that's going to prevent it from rubbing or wearing down the knurling. So that's the gun rack. We've seen some other ones, whether it's there's some that are come like an 8-bar holder instead of a 9, and they're spaced out a little bit more. That's just a different model. Not really, basically the biggest key is you want the bar to be off the ground. Okay, so we don't want any moisture getting into the sleeve or onto the bar, so you want them to be off the ground, because that's going to help prevent the moisture. It's going to prevent stuff getting into your bar, whether it's the dust and the little particles that are on the floor. That kind of gets swept up into the bar to create a less than optimal lifting experience for you. So, and then a little bit newer, maybe not. Some people kind of do it yourself in garage gyms, but we've seen a lot of it's a vertical storage, but it's a hanging vertical storage. So kind of think of if you ever played baseball or softball, how you hang up a bat in the dugout. Kind of the same thing. So basically the collar itself is going to be resting on top of the vertical holder, so you prevent any rubbing that you can get on the knurling of the bar, so it wouldn't be worn down. It seems like that might be a pretty good option, just for the sole fact that you're not having to put it down into a tube each time. You don't have any impact on that sleeve over and over and over again. So I think Rogue makes they make a single, and then they make a triple, I think. But if you're a handyman, you can make your own, whether it's if you have 5 bars or whatever it is. So those are a couple different options for you. As far as one being better than the other, it really just depends on what your budget is. It depends on what type of bars you have. So do you have all-purpose bar, like a beater bar, one that you don't really care much about, or do you have an Olympic barbell from Rogue or Eleiko or something like that, where it costs, you know, $500 to $1,300. So it really just depends how long you want your bar to last. But biggest thing is you want to make sure you're not destroying the sleeve by dropping it down into any sort of 9-bar or 8-bar holder, whatever it is. And you want to keep the bar off the ground. As far as vertically versus horizontally, I mean, there's been some debate on what's best. I don't think there's really one that's necessarily better than the other. I like the look of the gun rack. That's just me personally. So, yeah, take a look at different manufacturers and decide which one is best for you. So if you have any questions, hit us up, and we'll see you next week.